Welcome to Your Next Option. My guest today is Sarah Hiller Burson of the Center for Purposeful Aging. She facilitates individuals to achieve fulfillment and a high quality of life, purposeful living, and aging. Sarah, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much. How are you?
Excellent. Welcome to the program. So, here's what I'd like you to do. Could you walk me through the process of how you came to be a licensed clinical social worker and started your program?
Okay. So I started as a social worker, and I started in the hospitals in Mount Sinai and Columbia Presbyterian. And I liked working with older people. I found that they were really enjoyable to work with, and I recognized the enjoyment in terms of their wisdom. And so I continued. That's where I kind of focused all my energy, my professional energy on. And then I became a clinical social worker, and I had the opportunity to really focus on the psychological aspects of the social issues that all of these older people were going through, and very rewarding. And eventually I landed in New Jersey. So I went to a nursing home there, and I worked with older people in nursing homes for 9 years.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And then
As I'm working with the older people, I'm really getting a sense of what gives their lives meaning, what gives their lives purpose. I think it's really challenging as you get older. Society is kind of sending you this message of youth and productivity and beauty are so important, and are really are the priorities in life, and are something that is valued. But when you're older, especially when you're in a nursing home, it is so challenging to come up against those values and kind of emotionally resolve. I don't have youth. I don't have beauty anymore. I'm not productive anymore. So where's my value? Where does my value lie? And that's what I worked with a lot of the residents in the nursing homes, and of the rehab patients in the nursing homes, really mapping out or kind of challenging those values. Because yes, those values exist in the world, but there's so many other values that we can really focus on, like someone that is generous and supportive, someone that is caring and kind, someone that is a role model and shows people how to conduct themselves with strength and elegance when they are in challenging situations like physical limitations. So we really worked on helping people identify finding value in who they are, and really reinterpreting what value is as you get older, and challenging what society says value is.
So, and how did you come to create the facility, the Center for Purposeful Aging?
So as I said, I was working in the nursing homes for 9 years, and we worked individually and in group work, which was really exciting too, because to hear myself talk to people and to really work on developing these ideas with one individual was really eye-opening. But then when you get a group, what happens in the group dynamic is that one person identifies how they're feeling, and when another person comes in and says, I'm feeling the same way because I'm experiencing the same thing, it is emotionally so validating, and it really accomplishes so much, and so much can be kind of picked apart and unpacked. You really get to the crux of the issue, which I spoke about in terms of values. So we were working, and I was very, very content working in the nursing homes, and ends up I work in New Jersey, and the nursing homes were devastated by Corona in New Jersey, which was really sad to see. I had over 50 patients, and I lost over 20. It was very sad. And after a while, they didn't even want psychological services to come into the facilities. What they wanted was teletherapy, where they had a computer, and I zoomed in with every one of the residents in the facilities. And it was very interesting to kind of develop the Zoom teletherapy psychological services that way. And at first I thought, oh, I don't know if this is going to work, but you know what? It works really good, because, it is very engageable, and people do get get your expressions, and they do feel, and they do understand what you're saying, and it works very well. 1 second. I'm gonna turn off my AC. So what ended up happening was, so I was doing the teletherapy for a while, and we would always find new patients in the nursing homes, and after a while, things kind of normalized in that it was normal to have corona positive or COVID positive patients in the nursing homes. And then they said, okay, you know what? We've normalized. You could come back and do psychological services. And I said, well, you still have like 6 or 7 corona or like COVID positive cases. I don't know if I'm comfortable coming into a building that has these cases. And they said, well, if you're not going to come in, then we're going to have to replace you because we want someone here in person. So I said, well, I can't do it. And so that's when I looked into starting my own practice, my own private practice called Center for Purposeful Aging. And I'm focusing on older adults, let's say from like 50 and up, who are struggling with the themes of loss, struggling with the themes of like retirement and change, and just not comfortable being in this new phase where they don't fit into the whole value system of like productivity and youth and beauty, and really working through those things. And of course, we're really integrating the whole idea of depression and anxiety, identifying the thoughts behind the depression and the feelings of sadness, and identifying the value systems that create the thoughts, which is really a cognitive behavioral therapy kind of model. And what's really so interesting to me is how, you know, it all really kind of fits in and packs up so nicely in terms of working with these feelings and how you're integrating these whole ideas of finding purpose as you're working with these kind of dysfunctional feelings and challenging the values, and then the thoughts change, and then the feelings change.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's really nice.
That's wonderful. You're making a significant contribution to the community at that level.
Thank you. Thank you.
How would we get in touch with you?
You could call me on my website. You could reach me on my website, www.centerforpurposefulaging.com. And I'd love to talk to you. You know, I take Medicare. So, you know, it's a pretty simple process. Thank God that Medicare is out there. You know, other insurances aren't as easily offering these psychological services, but Medicare is. So it's a good thing. You know, it's a really good thing, especially now, you know, in terms of older people with Corona, older people have been devastated by this whole disease, by this whole pandemic. You know, a lot of people are scared to leave their homes, and there's a lot of loneliness. And, you know, I really try to stress to people, just because you're alone doesn't mean that you should feel lonely. And I challenge people, or I encourage people, really, it's more of an encouragement than a challenge, to really, you know, reorganize how they see things, how they approach things, so that they can live these days, even though a lot of it's spent at home alone, in a productive way, in a purposeful way, in a way that brings them fulfillment and contentment. So.
Excellent. And so I would like to know if you have any parting wisdom to share with us.
Well, I think everyone lives a life of purpose. Everyone is put onto this earth for a purpose, for a reason. And a lot of times we identify it based on the values that society is telling us. But things often get a little messed up because we change, because the values haven't been updated. You know, Erik Erikson, who is one of the biggest, one of the most influential psychologists in psychology, modern day psychology, came up with this kind of seven stages of development. And the last stage was integrity versus despair. So it's, you know, he was saying that, well, once you reach, and they asked me, once you reach age like, you know, 60 or so, or 65, you start thinking about reflecting on your life, what it means. Did you live a fulfilling life? Did you live a life of value? And we're all kind of still thinking in those terms of, well, now that I'm in my 60s, did I live a life of value? It's over. Let me assess everything. 60 is not over. 60 is just the beginning. 60 is really where it all starts. And I want to point out also, when Erik Erikson came out with this whole concept, it was 1950. And life expectancy in 1950, I think, was 67 years old. Okay. Life expectancy now is like in like the late 70s. Although, if you take care of yourself, you're good to 85. We're getting a lot of 90s and 100s, so people retire. And so like people retire and how they define their productivity is it ends. But the thing is, after you retire, you have 30, 40 years. What are you going to do with those 40 years? Are you going to go play golf? I think that's like good for like 2% of the people that life golf. But everyone else, you have to find what really speaks to you. Find your strengths, find what you want to give to this world. And it could be something really bold, like I know a senior that started her own senior center, or it could be something really, focusing on your legacy. Like I know a grandma, she's 82, and she's so connected to her teenage and 20-year-old grandchildren. They call her every day, and she's just impacting their lives and, giving them a sense of self. And her value lies in what she offers to other people. She offers them love. She offers them support, and they are all individuals with a deep sense of self-worth. And that's where she put her energy, because that's where she wanted to. It's really an individual thing where you want to put your energy, where you want to find your purpose. And it's out there. Everyone has a purpose. And even from age 60 to 100, everyone has a purpose. We just have to find it, and we have to internalize it and live it and embrace it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And that's what we're all here to do, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
And that's what we're all here to do, serve.
Yes.
60 years and older, making their way in this world, in this new world of the real new age movement as we live 30 to 35 years longer than the generation preceded us.
35 years. I mean, it's possible. It's a long time.
Exactly. Thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you, Samela. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Looking forward to seeing you again. And
yes, definitely.
Bye-bye from Sarah Hiller Burson and Your Next Option.
Take care. Bye.